And there are no catch, no fine print, no nothing. Our program is around, has been around for a very long time. The SBDC is a national group. It's a national organization, and we do happen to be part of the Orange County Inland Empire SBDC. To save you the trouble of the worrying about the hierarchy of how the organization is created, we are part of the Cal State Fullerton. Our program is hosted and grant is managed by Cal State Fullerton. Our network has over 125 consultants. As Shani mentioned, we are business owners as well, and we do commit some of our time to basically help our SBDC clients at no cost to start to grow and expand their business. We do it all at no cost because it's already prepaid for. We are funded by tax dollars and grant funds that come through the SBA or the Small Business Administration. We also receive some funds from the governor's office through the state of California. And we are here to help you. I will put our contact information in the chat in case you decided to reach out to us as a follow-up. Know that when our clients reach out to us, we always do our best to align you with a consultant that has the industry knowledge and the expertise aligned with your industry and the area of assistance that you need help with. We can help you with anything pertaining to your business except two areas. We do not touch legal because we are not attorneys, and we do not touch taxes because we are not CPAs. So otherwise, nothing is off limit. And I'm gonna just, I'm gonna just stop at that and turn it over to Yesim so she introduces herself and get to the topic. What I really would like to encourage all of you to do, I love that Shani set this up as a meeting. Please unmute yourself and ask questions as Yesim is going through the presentation. We are here to answer questions and respond to the different areas that you might need more additional knowledge or information on. So please, we welcome that and we encourage that. Don't feel that this is a one-way conversation. And Shani, please don't hesitate to interrupt once in a while and ask if there are questions. I know this is your group. They're probably more comfortable with you, engaging them. So with that, I'm gonna turn it over to Yesim to introduce herself and get started with the presentation. Yesim?
Thank you, Manal. Great to be here, and thanks to everybody who joined us tonight, and parting with some time in the evening to all of you. So I do work for the SBDC. Been with the network for about 2 years, and I do have about over 30 years of marketing and management experience in the U.S. Originally from Turkey, came here for school and ended up liking it a lot and stayed. So I am a business owner, like most of you in the room. So that's our side gig. So what that makes the SBDC consultants is real life practitioners. So I've suffered through COVID like all of you. And tonight's topic is really marketing, which is my field, where I've managed multiple brands in the United States that you will probably recognize. And I'm currently working on my own international educational business, helping international children go to universities in the Western world, including in Europe and in the US and whatnot. So let's get into COVID and let's get into marketing and where a lot of us might be these days, and some suggestions we might have for you. But first, a note of thanks to our partner, the Iranian American Chamber of Commerce, who we're proud to be here presenting this with. So I'm going to move into today's agenda. So here was our purpose in compiling today's information. So I'll just walk through this. So these were the expectations and see if this works for all of you. So we're anticipating that all of you have kind of undergone certain changes through last year, positive or negative, but there's definitely been some changes out there. So what are those and how do they impact our business and what should we be doing? Putting things back in order. Or for those of us who might be, starting new businesses, I presume some of you could be in the future. How do you start strong in today's marketplace? Given how many things have shifted through the last 15 months, and you're specifically focusing on your digital footprint. When brick and mortar is not always available, what has become a primary driver is your online presence, and the multiple ways through which you reach out to your customers. And this doesn't matter if you're a product business or product, if you sell products or you market your services, doesn't matter. This will apply to you. how do you, in today's world, since it's shifted so much, how do you attract new clients? But more importantly, you already potentially have clients, so how do you retain those? Because it's a lot cheaper to retain clients we have and make them into, longer term clients than try to get new ones, especially when, for periodically stores have been closed. So brick and mortar offices have been closed. So how do you manage that during this period? And effectively converting your database of clients over time, because you probably have a list of leads to manage. So we're just going to talk about the tools that make this possible. But the first thing the starting point for this discussion should be none other than your customers, people you're selling to. Okay. So what do we mean by that? So let's study them. How do we study our customers? There are many aspects to our customers. So you probably know them through your interactions, but can you group them? Can you classify them? Can you define them? And how do you do that? You can do that demographically. So you all know what that means probably. That is the age, gender, race, ethnicity. So if I'm a hair salon, I may be selling to my services to women, maybe younger, maybe older, it doesn't matter, maybe ethnic, right? So, but it's a certain group, or maybe men, I'm a barbershop. So that is, going to be the demographic features. Second dimension, we can define our customers is psychographics, which define their personalities, their hobbies, interests, lifestyle, values. So if I showed you an example like Vans, my son loves to buy sneakers there, as every teenager probably. That is a certain personality that shops at that store, right? You can all envision what I'm talking about. You can nod. It's a small group. I can see you. Okay. They may have certain hobbies, interests. So, it depends on your brand. So you're gonna be appealing to a certain psychographic segment. The last piece, since we're all operating locally, right? In the area I'm local to, is our geography. The characteristics or where they live. Are they in your neighborhood? Like, what is your circumference that you're servicing with your company? Is it national, or is it Orange County? Or is it like a section of Tustin? Right? That all depends. So what happened last year? One big shift, I know this is kind of post-mortem, like last year, going through the motions, we were trying to constantly analyze it, but now we can see a little bit more clearly in hindsight what has shifted. Here's what's shifted. A majority of Americans have said, okay, now we're going to try some new behaviors. Raise your hand if you bought clothing at Amazon last year, and if you probably never did that before. There you go. Thank you. I'm not the only one. I was getting embarrassed, but okay. Because, well, why? Because I couldn't go to a store, right? And you're sitting at home. Yep, exactly. So what does that mean? Will you be a little bit more open to doing so in the future? Amazon's made a killing through this. And that might have come at the expense of some small business, but that's besides the point. So expenditures on e-commerce and big box, like Target was open. Yeah, they also sell clothes. Okay, that they've probably benefited from this when all the boutiques and other stores were closed. So you could go there for food, for household items, and other things, since it's very wide in scope. Also, expenditures have shifted by category. If there's any one of you who's tried to hire a contractor, good luck, because I did, and my stuff took like 9 months. So because they're really in demand, because everybody wants to do home improvement. Wayfair profited for the first time during COVID. Historically, they never made a profit, and now they did. So if you're Home Depot, you're probably in luck. Okay, so that might have a consequence for your business, right? Hobbies, again, up big time. Healthcare, up big time. Probably drugstores are doing great volume. Entertainment, we're on Netflix. What else are we gonna do? Alcohol, I'm kidding. Travel, and then vehicles, anything to do with cars, planes, hotels, hospitality are down. So depending on our industry, this has impacted us. And people have also shifted loyalties because they had caused, certain concern around safety And then scarcity was a factor. Remember when the toilet rolls couldn't be found anywhere, they were like gold, and then everything was closed so that you would just buy sanitizer wherever you could find it. It's still kind of weird to shop for. So things have shifted with the consumer. So we first have to understand that. And then we have to respond to those changes. What do we need to do as a small business? We have to build trust. And in the past, maybe not as much now, but still exists, there's still safety factors in question. So have we been able to address those for them? Have we built trust for our customers? Have we invited them to shop with us? Not just through brick and mortar, but maybe like a service where they can pick up and go. Or I've heard of retailers, small businesses allowing FaceTime shopping on the shelves. There was a company doing this for children's toys. I think it's a great idea. You can pre-book services, you can pre-consult. Like if you're going to go for a haircut, it probably wouldn't hurt to take a picture of the person and their hair, send it in. So we're going to spend 5 less minutes when you're in that chair, jeopardizing, breathing in a closed environment. And more importantly, we've had to reevaluate your products and services because you know that essentials have sold a lot more through this period. So have you gone through your merchandising if you're a product business? That actually potentially applies to services too. Some of them may be doing better because of the environment. More importantly, have we communicated regularly to stay top of mind with those consumers? Right? So they may not be having parties, but if you have a great bar business, we would all like Robin to come and swing by our neighborhoods right now. But like, are we actually emailing them? Are we reminding them that we're here? Because people are getting vaccinated and they're going to have friends over soon. Okay, it's cheaper to retain the people in our database than to try to go out and get new ones. So hopefully you've been capturing names. If not, we should be talking about how to do that. Better late than never. 81% of shoppers conduct online research before buying. I went online for a fitness facility and made an appointment today. And I didn't know who I was going to book it with, but I went on Yelp. I looked what's close by, and one fit the bill. So there you go. I think you're all doing it right now. So we're going to focus on your brand as we start this, journey of some recommendations from the SBDC. So hopefully you all have this in place, but just in case, as a reminder, and if you don't, come and make an appointment with us, we can go through your brand. You should pay attention to certain dimensions. I don't care if you have a service or a product business. Again, this applies to both. Do you have an identity? Does your brand have a personality? Do you have a tagline? Do you have certain values, right? When people think of your business, do they have a certain picture in mind? Are you able to paint that picture? What do they feel when they encounter your brand? Do you have a visual identity? Meaning, are you using green on your Instagram post and then orange on your Facebook and then your website is purple? That probably is not consistent. So you may like this change, but you've got to be consistent with your use of colors, your logo, your applications, your fonts. So it's really important to kind of come up with a footprint and just to stay religiously dedicated to that look and feel, because consumers come to recognize that footprint and they want to see you look the same way through all your channels. Okay, really important. That identity is important so they can recognize you. And the public image, your personality or your visual identity portrays throughout all your digital touch points. So those range from your website to social to press, your articles and any flyers or anything else that you put out there. So let's touch upon your value proposition. A lot of businesses are successful without thinking about how they're different and how they communicate themselves. So, but times have changed. So unless you already have a very clear value proposition, this is the time to structure one. Okay. What do I mean by a value proposition? This is the reason your customers will buy what you sell. Okay, because anything you sell, I don't care, it's toothpicks, it's differentiatable. Well, you may be all natural. You may be different from other toothpicks. You may come in different colors. This exists. Like So I gave an exaggerated example, of course, but you get the point. Like whatever your, financial services, whatever you're selling, you're differentiatable. So we need to decide what your competitors are selling, what you're selling, and how are you different. And we need to open our mouths, open our, digital channels and start communicating that consistently. It's how you solve a problem for the customer. Okay, so let's show you an example. This is Mailchimp, which actually is a way to email your clients. I see some nodding heads, so you're familiar with this. I use this for my business because it's free, and that is the right price point often. So they have a really good value proposition. Let's read this together. By the way, you can stop me if you disagree or have other examples. Just take yourself off mute and stop me if you want.
I just want to plug in constant contact as a better option. Sorry.
Yeah, no, not disagreeing at all. We're just going to look at the value proposition, but I quite agree. So the way Mailchimp positions itself is, it says, make your marketing seamless. All-in-one platform comes loaded with pre-built templates, segments, and automations. And if you're cheap like me, it fits the bill, and it's extremely well articulated that it's all-in-one. It comes with templates. It just literally tells me how it's different. Okay, there are definitely better platforms, but this is the cheapest. So to do the minimum work that I need. So what do you do with a value proposition once you come up with one? Here's what you do. You place it front and center on your website. Okay. You talk to people. It's your elevator pitch now. Every time you meet a potential network partner, you're at a chamber event, or you're at this meeting, you should say it. You should use it as your elevator pitch, because that's how we'll remember you, and be consistent in telling your network. So let's shift gears, because I can't use the word pivot through this meeting. It's so overused now. So we're going to shift gears to how to attract new clients. What are some digital tools we can leverage to do so? Let's first step back and take a look at our entire digital footprint. I'm using Marketees now. How many times have you heard the word digital footprint, and how confusing is it? Hopefully it's not. So here's a good depiction of what it actually means. Is at the core of it, at the center of it, is your website. Especially if you're not physically available, you're working from home, your store is closed, your restaurant is closed, your advising services are closed right now, but you're meeting people over Zoom, so people are going to come to your website. So that's really key. But around that and consistent with it are your multiple digital channels. And that could include your use of social media, your email marketing, your partnerships with each other. This is your network in the virtual room. Your paid advertising, if you're doing any, and then if there are any influencers, or if you're getting any news printed or digitally or traditional media, in the media, that's also a part of your footprint. So that is, in its entirety, is how people get exposed to your brand. So we're going to obviously start with your website. The question to ask is, you've got a website. I'm assuming most all of you have one. If you don't, please come and see us and we'll help you, because there's very easy ways you can get one quickly started. Is your website working for you? You would not believe how many clients we have all met at the SBDC throughout the last 14, 15 months who have websites, but they're just not working for them. And they could get away with it when they were open on a brick and mortar basis. Now that they're not, they need a website that converts with calls to action. So, and suddenly they found themselves needing help. A website has to communicate your why people should buy from you. It has to be friendly, easy, and it just needs to make it easy for people to want to do business with you, because people will go there. Remember the 81%, shopping online before they actually spend money. So the first thing we want you to do is to put yourself in your customers' shoes. Okay, any one of you. And it was a pleasure hearing about your businesses in the introduction. So I know this applies to every one of you. Think about how they decide to spend money with you. What's the first thing they pay attention to? Second thing, third thing? And what are potential hurdles, objections? potential reasons they call you, talk to you, and then not hire you, right? You need to really write those down, internalize them, and then structure your website to overcome those objections and to emphasize the items that are more prevalent in your customers' decisioning. Okay, here's an example. So I called it considering the purchase decisioning journey. So websites that actually understand this and speak to it and address it do a really good job. If you happen to know, like in this example, that your customers are looking for information. So when they call you up, they're buying something that they don't buy all the time, like a sleeping bag, right? You don't buy that all the time. You may have technical questions, or like skis, right? You're going to have some questions. If the person on the end of the line can help answer your questions, frame them, help you navigate, what will you do? You'll probably buy from them, right? I do. You know, I'll walk into one of these stores and I see an expert. I love talking to them. So do that on your website, right? This is how you do it. Provide information, provide comparisons. You're done. Another one. This is actually a local company. They're in Anaheim Hills, where I live, and they're selling skincare. It's an e-commerce business, and she's understood that her customers shop by what's the first thing they look out for? You can tell, right? Type of skin. So if you have dry, oily, normal, or sensitive skin, so you're going to be able to click on here, go to this array of products that help alleviate your condition. So that's how people shop. And this business owner has internalized that and has reflected it on your website. So please do that. That will help you get new customers because your website will work harder for you. Number 2, do you have adequately placed calls to action? Okay. What do you see through this page? I see a lot of colors. Do you see a lot of colors? They're very bright, right? But they have to be attention getting. So place a lot of them, place them high up where they'll see it. Don't just like be nice and like disseminating information. Also tell them to purchase, right? Be a salesperson. So drive engagement and stand out. Has anybody ever heard the term? Now I'm going to ask you because everybody's quiet. Except for Shani, nobody spoke up. Getting the key elements above the fold. Has anybody heard of the term above the fold?
I haven't, but I also have muted everybody. So if anyone wants to speak, please unmute yourself.
I know some of you are like savvy marketers and even marketing companies here, so you probably work with this. Okay, above the fold. Okay, who remembers reading like print newspapers? Okay, remember when they're folded and they put them on the breakfast table, and what do you read? You read what's above the fold first, right? That applies to your website. Okay, it's the content you see first, right? And everybody has attention deficit. Few people like scroll all the way down. If you're not hooking the fish, they're not going to bite. So, you know, people have short attention spans these days. So we're going to try to capture them before they scroll anywhere. Catch them. So how do you do that? You catch them above the fold before they scroll anywhere, because otherwise you want to have the opportunity. So the content first seen should include what? A call to action. Should also include why they should be spending their money with you in a very concise, attention-getting, needs-based way. If this seems complex, you'll have our email address and phone number. I hope you'll call us because we will help you, because any business can do this, okay? Some examples. There you go, Anaheim. I'm not going far from Anaheim today, am I? I'm going to come more toward Irvine, hopefully. So this is the team store, really great site. You know, you look at this site, here's good things they're doing. You know, we don't always have bad examples, right? So you can tell you can buy on the site. There's the promotions. It's organized by category. You can log in. You can see the shopping cart. You can search. There's some promotions that are highlighted, and sales that are highlighted. And then you can actually sign up for the site. This is a well-done business to consumer site. Good example. Let's look at a B2B example. I think some of you operate B2B potentially. Salesforce, it's a big company, but still. So basically start my free trial, watch demos, try for free. I mean, look at how many calls to action. And it says unite your teams around every customer with the #1 CRM. Okay, this is the Cadillac of the CRMs. It's also a little bit more costly, of course, but they really know what they're doing. They know how to convert. They've done this thousands of times, obviously. So they're dealing with all those objections and taking them away. So it becomes quite compelling to the right customer. Okay, there's a phone number, or you can click and make an appointment. So if you don't want to talk to them, it caters to you both. Okay, here's one that I like a lot, because sometimes a company has to do both, be business to business and business to consumer. So Lyft does a really good job. So this site appeals to both drivers and riders as well as businesses, and it's really well done. It also reflects an understanding of their competition. Who is Lyft's competition? You all know Uber, right? Uber, they understand Uber. They understand what Uber is good at. So they're positioning themselves vis-a-vis the competition, which is also something you should be thinking about. Lyft says that Lyft wants you to think of them as younger and more socially conscious and friendly. Remember the fist bump in the Lyft car in the early days? There was a fist bump thing. Uber never did that. Okay. So Lyft is more like your friend's car versus Uber is like the black car service. It works for a certain market group. So it's target market. They know that. And they've done, what a good job they've done on their website of really attracting that sentiment. Okay. So I'm going to hijack you now to social media. I know you all love to spend time on social media every day. No, I'm kidding. We like to look at it, but we don't have to work on it sometimes because it takes a lot of time. But it's essential because it's free. And if anybody's about to say, Facebook is dead, right? It's really not. It's huge. It'll benefit you. It depends on your business, of course. Like platforms will vary from business to business, but that is still by far the largest platform. It will help you gain organic visibility. So why would you not do it? Yep. It will help generate website and brick and mortar traffic. It's just another way to be visible. So you should spend some time here. You can talk to customers. It's a good customer contact tool, and it's a customer service tool. I've been known to tweet at companies like United, complaining about stuff, and then they answer right away. They don't always agree with me, but I do get an answer very quickly. And you can also target customers very easily on platforms like Instagram or Facebook. Robin, please, you're on mute though. You might want to take yourself off.
What are your thoughts on the advertising for Instagram and Facebook?
Good question.
I use those as tools, but it's just a matter of, I'll tell you my personal perspective, and I wonder if Michael wants to add on. I like advertising on both, and I've done both. But I'd rather do all the organic things that are free first, right? And then layer in the paid pieces.
Because the cost, I've only done it once. The cost was pretty minimal.
Yeah.
But I didn't feel like I had full control. I had control over it geographically, but not demographically. And so I didn't really know exactly who I was targeting. And so I didn't really see much traffic driven to my website. So, but maybe I just don't know much about it either.
It could be. And that's pretty typical. A lot of people have first experiences like that. Facebook is actually super well targeted. And you can go into like lifestyle, and we can show you how to do this. Just, set some time out when you sit down and look at your backend.
Okay.
Do like a Zoom share screen. There are many ways you can target your geography, as you said, but also, what they're interested in.
Right.
And you'll see, what's the potential market you can reach and try to hit them. And then you have the capability to select different tools. So one of those could be steering volume to your website, and then you can look to see if that's helping at all.
Okay. Yeah. So much about any of that. So
I'm just going to make a comment here, if you allow me. I'm on social media every day. I promote the chamber every morning at about 10 to 20 minutes before I even get out of bed, because this is a side thing and I need to make sure that things are happening. I found that advertising does pay off, but the best tool that I found is to join different groups and start a conversation in different groups.
Yes.
So, for example, we're based in Laguna Niguel. I joined the Laguna Niguel group. I made sure a lot of my members that are local have also joined so they can like and share my posts. And I found out that every Wednesday I can actually advertise our business. So every Wednesday I have made sure that I go in and promote whatever it is that is happening in our chamber. So it's great to be paying, but that can cost you money. This is a lot cheaper, and you just have to start conversation, go to a busy site and make a comment, not to say come hire me as a bartender, but make a comment so other people can see your business name and go.
Are you referring to sites like, because I'm in San Clemente, like San Clemente Life and that kind of thing?
Buzz or
groups on Facebook? There are groups on Facebook that you can join and post, and get involved.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Thank you. Yeah, I
Thank you.
from those as well. And sometimes, like if I mentioned I'm in the education business, I actually founded like a platform where parents can discuss strategies, and I'm basically authoring it. Like I'm the editor, and then people join and start talking to each other. I'm like, that's great. And so I look like an authority. So that's like you could do that for like financial services and stuff like that in the area.
And I think the key
if I can interject, I have noticed a lot of small businesses that they have let go of any website that they have, and they have created something on social media as their website. So they don't actually exist on internet; they just exist on some sort of a social media. And at that time, then the development of that social media site becomes, an important thing.
I have a couple of points. Majid, you are correct. The development is important on the social media presence. The one thing you need to be careful about putting all your eggs in one basket, the basket of social media, is you are under the mercy of Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and whatever platforms of their algorithm, and when they choose to show your post to whom. Plus, if for some reason one day you get hacked and Facebook decides to deactivate your page, you're under their mercy. You're going to lose all of your contacts.
Correct.
The other piece, in order to follow up on what Shani said and the local groups, if you decide to be involved there, don't think sales, don't think a sales pitch, think building relationships, engaging in conversations, exactly like how we used to do pre-COVID in a regular networking environment. We all were like we build a wall immediately as someone comes close to us and they're like, well, here's my brochure. And if they walk into networking meeting and like, here's my brochure, that's what I do. It's more like learning about each other. So take time and observe the conversation that happens in groups as you join these groups, and then eventually start interjecting and inserting yourself in these conversations so you build relationships. Think relationships first before sales, because relationships eventually will lead to sales.
Do you think that social media giants like Facebook will end up actually allowing people to have more stable sites in that social media environment, as opposed to just changing it constantly for them and make it a very difficult thing for, to maintain it?
They're in the business of making money and collecting data and selling that data to advertisers. That's their business model. That's why we have free access to the Google My Business, the Facebook as users, and Instagram and so forth. Well, anyways, this is really this is an engaging conversation, so it's fun. Yeshua, I'll turn it back over to you.
Let me just say one thing, because it's really important. Do not give up your websites, because what we're trying to do is help you construct authority on the internet, so you're going to be found. Without a website, it's going to be much harder for you to build your. So when people put in financial services in Tustin, or I just make that up, but you want to be on that first page. So without a website, good luck. It's not going to happen with a Facebook page as easily. So don't give it up because it's easy to do so. It's important. Now, platforms you should be on depends on your business. Okay, very simple. I won't elaborate. But if you're selling food or fashion, obviously Pinterest, Instagram, visual platforms. There are all-in platforms like Facebook and Twitter. There's video platforms if you're doing dance lessons. or art lessons, you might want to be on YouTube and TikTok. And then there's LinkedIn if you're doing B2B, and there's SEO. Long story, but you know, stuff you post on Pinterest and YouTube will have longer tails. They'll refer traffic back to your website. That's because at the end of the day, that's what we want, like months after you've posted it. So those are super helpful. So if you're confused because there are so many platforms, come and ask us and we'll help you pick. Okay. All right. This looks like a complex chart, but it's not. So let me break it down. Everybody knows the sales funnel, right? We get leads and we convert them, we sell them, and then hopefully we resell them. They go back up to the top and they buy again. So on the right-hand side is your awareness, consideration, and then conversion. That is your standard funnel. All I mean to say is, because I know this audience is more experienced than other small businesses sometimes we work with, so this is probably a sophisticated way to look at this and to simplify some things. Your social tools will vary based on your objective. If you're a new business and you're trying to build awareness, okay, you're going to want to do some of the following. You don't have to memorize these, but I'm just giving you some examples. You're going to want to increase your followers. To Robin's point earlier, she was advertising on Facebook. So what her advertising needs to serve a purpose. If she's new, then she just wants to get attention. And that means, you know, increasing followers and increasing her reach. So the tools that accomplish that are going to be different from tools that drive purchases at the conversion point. Okay. The tools that make, you know, people aware of her business could be that advertising that she was doing. Her friends follows, and she could be running contests that people will share. So more and more people will be aware of the brand and at least begin to follow it. And then once they consider buying, she could do various things to actually cajole them into parting with their money, you know, to hire the bar. And how do you do that? You could be doing a webinar. I guess that doesn't apply to her business, but she could be doing social posts showing real parties she's done, and that's going to help people decide. That is my only point. Okay. So the last piece why social media is a great tool for you, especially right now, is because you can use it for customer service. I wonder if any of you actually have customer service personnel. Many small businesses don't, so it's the proprietor just wearing all those hats, and it's really difficult. But if you could encourage people to actually message you. I had 2 people message me through Instagram today asking about products and with questions, and that's customer service, you know. And guess what? I can actually open it up and respond at my convenience. I don't have to do it that second. So that's great. So it's a way to engage. So do some things for me, okay? If you're using social media, which you should be, add hours on your profile, add your contact information. Whoever is managing your social, if it's your kid or your assistant, if it's somebody other than you, enable them to take care of an issue if one arises, okay? Don't make him come and check with you every time. Like, give him some leeway if you're a little bigger of a company. And also,
Yesim, I do have a comment to your in response to your comment of saying you would respond to messages on social media at your own leisure. So there are 2 schools of thoughts there. The school of thought that you just shared right now, you will do it at your own leisure. But there's also the school of thought that focuses on the clients or customers or prospective customer expectation that the reason they reach out to you on social media versus via email is because they do expect immediate conversation, immediate response. They don't want to wait 24 hours and so forth. So I'm just curious if you can elaborate a little bit more on that.
Yeah, I don't mean 24 hours. Absolutely don't do that. I mean, you know, finish your SBDC meeting and then respond, which could be like 30 minutes. That's what I mean. That way I didn't lose the customer. And, you know, it's still not very long and still hopefully okay. Definitely don't go 20. Actually, platforms will track how long you take to get back to them. So don't make it long because you don't want to be, you know, because that statistic will show. You don't want to be like the 48-hour responding brand or like 1 week. That just looks like you're out of business. Just be careful to keep your personal, private versus public posts separate. And then just be personal, interactive. You know, just these are some recommendations and you'll do a great job if you could do those and it will help your business. Let's see. Okay, last point. Hopefully I'm not boring you too much, but local directories. So we were talking about driving attention to your search results, like ranking higher, being found first before your competitors on Google and Bing. If anybody uses any other search engines, most of them are Google these days, but you want to be found. You want to be top of that list when people search for your business, right? So here's how to do that. Website, social media, but here's the other trick. Online list of businesses within a particular location and category, and a great way to be found online. That's what local directories are. The major ones we'll tell you about are Google My Business and Yelp, but LinkedIn and Facebook can also be used, and others can be used the same way. And here's what I mean. When you want Indian food or Chinese food or pizza, and you search that on your cell phone or computer, different little red balloons pop up in your neighborhood, right? And you can look at their reviews. You can click on it. Somebody say yes, no, yes?
Yes.
Okay, great, thank you. So that is Google My Business. You should be, if you don't have your Google My Business profile, you need to set one up. We can help you do it. I won't go through all the details now. And then encourage your customers to leave reviews for you, because that helps you be found. As the more reviews you have, the better. And this is going to help you be discovered online. And that's one way to bring new customers into your business.
What if I am a home-based business or a mobile business? What would I do with my address on Google My Business or Yelp?
Great question. Great question. Okay, I should have said that because that is the number one concern. I own a home-based business. I don't want people coming to my door. So you can actually camouflage that. You'll have to validate that your business is at that address with Google so they can validate you, but then you hide it. So don't worry, there's a way. And if you can't find it, again, ask us, no problem. Same with Yelp, by the way. So that was how to get new customers, but you already have some customers. And we just talked about why it's a great idea to keep the ones we have, why it's cheaper for us to do so. Yeah, because they've already experienced us. We don't have to prove ourselves. They've already bought from us. So the number one tool we'll part with tonight is relationship marketing. That sounds funny, but it's not. Let's look at emails that we could be sending out, right? So if we have a database of customers, we could be communicating with them to keep top of mind. Remember that sales funnel I showed you a couple slides back? People in the funnel are rotating. They're just sitting in there and they're constantly evaluating your business. What we want to do is push them down by staying top of mind and by reminding them what we have to offer. That's how they're going to come back and buy. So one way to do that on a very targeted basis is to have their emails, have their text, like phone numbers, and we could be texting, we could be emailing them. Here's what you could do with an email. Very easy to execute these. Send emails out. And the frequency of those, which is something we could talk about. It depends on your business. You don't want to do too much so that where they unsubscribe, but just enough to part with some really fun, good information that they're going to look forward to getting. So things you should watch out for: using an interesting subject line, keeping your messages short. Don't send them a whole blog. Optimize the email preview text. So this is what you see on your email before you click the open. You click on it to open the message, because you can already tell what it's about, and then you make a decision whether you want to read the rest of the message. Really important to get a really good preview text. You could use their names. Statistically, your messages will be more influential, will be read if you use the person's name. Same above the fold concept applies to email. Anything that's important, say it quickly before they scroll way down. Use your logo, use your contact information. Don't buy these lists. That never works. And I could tell you nightmare stories of why. And lastly, if you have a customer list, just make sure to clean it. So if it's bouncing and there are soft bounces, hard bounces, you need to probably weed through those and unsubscribe them. Some providers that actually provide CRM and email marketing. We talked about Mailchimp. We talked about Constant Contact, which is more sophisticated than Mailchimp, but there are others. just a few names, Send in Blue, Drip, Zoho, HubSpot. We're not endorsing any, but a different one will be right for each of your businesses, and that depends on your requirements, which we can certainly help you with. So here's how wonderful a CRM is. I wonder if there are any of you who are not using CRM, but here's what it can do for you. You can actually take your email database and you can say to your CRM and set it up so that when somebody enters your database, let's say they signed up through your website, you can put in an automated campaign, meaning you don't have to lift a finger once you've set this up. But so in this case, the system will wait for 5 days. And if the person hasn't visited the website, it's going to send them one message. And if they have, they're going to send them another message to convert them. So this is just an example, and the company's done some research. They know how this customer interacts with them, and they're trying to push the customer down the funnel. Basically, they're preparing certain messaging for the customer and for certain actions for that customer to try to convert them based on how the customer is interacting with the company. So in this case, HubSpot can actually do that for you. So that was just one example. I hope that wasn't too complex, but CRM is a wonderful tool. It cuts down your amount of work. So with that, I will conclude the presentation because we don't want to make it too long, and wanted to just discuss what's probably most salient for businesses to succeed right now. And again, here's our website address. Here's Manal's email. Manal, I don't know if you want to come back in, and here's how to schedule a meeting with us so you can easily screenshot this for contact information.
I will actually include it in the chat, but I would like to thank you for your time, Yesim, and also thank Shani for including us on this meeting. And, Shani, if we still have a few minutes and if your attendees have questions, please, we would love to address and attend to those questions.
Yes, please unmute yourself and ask questions from these wonderful speakers tonight.
One of the things that I have noticed is that in addition to social media, there are some portals that people use. For example, in the wedding business, people may join a portal, or real estate agents, they join a portal, or psychologists, they join a portal, and they only advertise there. Sometimes even they don't have a website again. They may not even come into a social media environment. So they're just there. And it's a good idea to find out how we can improve, their exposure to final clients through that type of environment.
So I'll attempt one add-on. Actually, it was more of a comment, but maybe Manal wants to add on. You're right. Like the knot is a great way to market your services if you're in the wedding industry. So that exists in any business, in psychiatry, in psychology, in education. You should absolutely be in those platforms, but Majid, you can't get away from a website still. I still think it's important. It's just an add-on.
I agree.
The more references to you have to yourself, the more authority you'll have. Like another good one for lawyers is Avo, but it doesn't preempt a website. You really do need both, and you have to be on Avo if you're a lawyer. I guess I'm not a lawyer, but I've seen people put themselves on there and benefit from it. So I don't know if Manal wants to add anything.
No, I agree, Yesim. The biggest piece is find the right mix that is strategic for your business to get you eyeballs and clicks and leads through the right platforms. So, and all of the different platforms from, the specialized platforms to social media, and maybe guest blogging and so forth, they should all lead to one place. They should all lead to your website. They should all lead to a page where people subscribe to your email list. So you are building on that list. And really, I know many people think that, the email marketing is gone. It's not. It's the one tool as a business owner, you are still in control because you decide when and what kind of messages you want to deliver into your contacts inbox. And unfortunately, when COVID hit, many of our small business owners, especially on the retail side, realized that they have not taken the time to collect their clients' information, email and name. That's all they needed to let their clients know when they are open, changes of operations, curbside pickup, delivery, whatever. So that's why they found themselves struggling to keep in touch, and they found themselves under the mercy of Facebook and Google My Business whenever they decide to bring them up in the search results. So my advice, and I hope that Yesim and the rest of you who are in this industry agree, mix it up in a strategic way. So you are reaching different audiences through different channels and driving traffic to one place, your website, which is your home, your place of business.
I have
Go
a
ahead.
question about that. What are your thoughts on mailing postcards as well? Is that kind of an old-fashioned thing to do?
Expensive. It's expensive. If you had to make a choice where to invest your marketing dollars, it wouldn't be at the top of my list. I mean, watch your own behavior. When you receive your mail, what is the first thing you do? You either keep them in a stack somewhere on your desk, wait till the end of the week and open up the mail, or you funnel through what you think is spam, you throw them in the trash and you look for the bills. So, but that is my personal opinion. Yesim?
I agree, and it's not my first go-to. I remember the days when we used to use more traditional marketing, but companies have gradually walked away from traditional because digital tends to be much more targetable, and with that, you have much more accountability. Having said that, in real estate and stuff like that, I've seen people tell me it works. So I don't want to be wishy-washy, but it's not my go-to.
Right. Second, especially in that settlement industry, the mailer, it's a huge, it brings huge return to the business owners in that settlement industry. So that settlement industry, credit repair, these are areas that they only do the mailings. So it depends on the nature of the business, I think.
Yeah, I have to plug in the Chamber of Commerce and in-person networking people. You cannot beat the value of meeting people and making connections, and those people will then make connections with others. And if you continue attending these meetings and showing up, people are going to remember you and they're going to refer you to others. So please, when we go back on doing in-person networking, do show up and show up regularly. Don't think that you just showed up once and you didn't meet anyone, it's the end of it. It's not. Maziar joined us before we even started his business 6 years ago and has been coming to our meetings every time. And he probably knows more people than I do now, but I think it's the key. So go ahead, Manal and Rishi, you guys take over.
No, I agree 100%. Taking us back to the point I made a few minutes ago, relationships. I'm going to keep it at that. Yesim?
Oh, totally. That's why we're here today.
Did anyone else have any questions?
I have a quick question right now, but I just wanted to thank you, Yesim and Manal. It was very, very informative.
Thank you, Nadine. Nadine had a question.
It was fun to be here. Thanks for being here with us, all of you.
Thank you. It was very interesting.
Everybody pause for a second. Nadine had a question.
Just one quick question. What's your advice on how often to post or send emails?
So let's lay around the response, because there's, that's
it's a loaded question.
A loaded question. It depends on your business.
Okay.
And you're gonna basically, it's great because you can actually test and learn a little bit, right? You can try it a little bit more frequently and see what type of engagement you're getting. But bear in mind, that means you have to kind of capture and record your engagement so you can compare it after the fact. And then take a look at what happens, when it's a little bit more, with more time in between.
Okay.
Right? And then it also depends on the channels you're using. So in Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, if you're using any of those channels, what happens is you post something and then 5 minutes later, it's gone. Nobody will see it again. Okay. So you may want to post much more frequently, but like Pinterest has a very long tail. So when you post something, if that was the right platform for your business, it's going to stick. Yeah. So it depends on the channel and its behavior. Hopefully that makes sense.
And Nadine, when it comes to email marketing and all of the tools that we talked about today, the great thing is that you can track it within the hour. You can track performance very quickly. And you know what? I wish we have the perfect formula or equation. There are so many factors. So testing, and testing some more until you find the right balance for your business. And once you think you found it, something is going to happen. Economy, weather, change in the market, that's going to force you as a business owner to revisit what you are doing and, re-strategize and use a different approach. So competition, so all of these elements play a big role in what you're trying to do.
Nadine, can you tell us exactly what your nonprofit is all about real quick? Sorry, everyone.
Yes, of course. Thank you for everyone for listening. So what we do is we spread inclusivity within the art world. So what we're doing is helping support and promote artists who have either a mental, physical, or societal disability, and promote them through our website as well as all social media platforms.
Oh, very, very nice. Thank you. Any other questions, or can we call it a night? Well, thank you very much to our speakers and to SBDC and Cal State University Fullerton, Manal and Richa, and my friend Yesim, Erez. I will finally get it. And you'd think I should be able to say Turkish names since I'm half Turk, but I failed miserably. Thank you.
No, you did fine.
It's been a pleasure. I wrote it on the notes too. I highly recommend signing up and having a meeting with an SBDC consultant. You will not regret it. It was the best thing that I did, and I did it recently, and can't tell you how wonderful it was. It doesn't matter how long you've been in business. It's always good to review what you're doing, and it kind of pumps you up too. So again, thank you, SBDC. Thank you, ladies, and thank you to all participants, and we'll see you. This will be on YouTube next week. The whole recorded message will be on YouTube next week. And the notes will be sent by Manal to me, and I will forward it to all the emails that
it's already